Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to FYI. For your information, I am Jaretta Fernandez joining you this lovely Thursday morning, guys. It is Thursday, the 30th of June, 2022. We're almost through the week. It has been quite an exhausting week, so much going on, but you guys have been the diligent folks that you've always been, and you have been sticking with us throughout the week. It's so nice to have the commitment from you all. I continue to say it. We are most appreciative of your commitment to us all together over here at the FYI family. You know what I ask as soon as I get on the morning program, I never start the discussion without first have you guys have the opportunity to share the stream so that other persons can benefit from the credible information altogether. So this morning is no different. I'm going to ask that you share the live stream. Make sure that you smash the emoji, add your comments to the comment section. I'm going to be spending a little time this morning looking at your comments through our Facebook page because I know I've been missing some of them a little bit and I'm feeling guilty. So I'm going to be very diligent this morning in monitoring Facebook comments in particular. I know my friends Beatrice and Nalini, you guys are over there on our YouTube page. You're just going to bear with us a little bit with that. But let me know what is going on at your end. Let me know where you're joining from. As always, that's always my biggest concern. What is happening with you? Is there anything that you need us to highlight at our end? Is there any action that you need that you believe that our voice adding to that may assist you in that way? Let us know. Let us know, guys. It is always a pleasure to be here. Folks, I'm going to be joining the Facebook people right now in the comment section, and I see Marlon Thomas there this morning. Marlon, you're early. I see Shawnette and Lynn Fernandez. Hey, Lynn Fernandez, how are you doing this morning? I see Gloria Gordon. Gloria, where are you guys joining us from right now? I am seeing Lena Williams also, Pamela Johnson, your son coming through just now, deserves a little break every now and again. We allow him to come on late. So I'm seeing Ganesh My Paul in the comment section. I'm going to call Ganesh out this morning. He's always in the comment section. He needs to be on set with us in the morning, not just in the comment section. So Ganesh My Paul, I'm calling you out this morning. You know what you got to do. You know where you got to be. So make sure that you do your part. It is not okay for you, Mr. Paul, to be joining the comment section all the time and not being on set with us having these discussions. It's absolutely important for us to get every view out there, and you always bring a very dynamic perspective and different perspective altogether for the issues that we discuss. So we are here waiting on you. Always a seat ready and waiting on Mr. Paul. See, guys, I'm putting it out there. He can't say that I didn't give the pitch early this morning. Hey, Brenda, how are you doing this morning? What's going on at your end? Let me know what is going on there. Let me know. Guys, let me know where you're joining from. I see Donna is locking in from London this morning. Good morning to the folks that are joining us from London this morning. I see Natalie James there this morning and Jennifer Haynes. I see Beatrice. I'm looking at you, Beatrice. Don't mind me a little bit. I'm going to be heavily on the Facebook side as much as I possibly can be. Pamela Johnson, how are you doing, Pamela? What is going on at your end? I see June Cameron, and there, Ghana isn't too early, heavy traffic to get there. Excuses, and we're not gonna be. That's not gonna be cutting it this morning. We're not gonna be accepting any of that. We got to be up and about very early, guys. You know how it is. We have to be up and early in order to get this done. So Ganesh, nope, we're not going to take that from you. Guys, let him know what's up. Marlon King, good morning to you, Marlon. How are you doing? What is going on at your end? And Wendy Williams is joining from Atlanta this morning. Good morning to the folks joining from Atlanta. Let me know who's joining from Region 6, Region 10. Those specific areas are very much important to me right now, as every area always is, but you're important to me this morning also. I am seeing prayers for my Guyana. I'm seeing folks saying good morning. Charles Humphrey saying good morning from New York there. Good morning to you, Charles. I hope you are having a good day over there. A better day than a lot of folks are having here in Guyana this morning. I see Glycis Mingoborn, you're on. Glycis, always happy to have you. Always happy to have you. I see Ganesh is trying to defend himself. It's not going to cut it. Not going to cut it, Ganesh. I see Lloyd McAllister there this morning also. Always great to have you. Absolutely necessary for you to be here to be a part of sharing credible information. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for you to do your part when it comes to sharing. It's not okay for you to just come and be the consumers of the information. We have to work hard. We are up against a series and machinery set up to disseminate disinformation and misinformation. And it's absolutely necessary that you aid in sharing credible information and to add to the fact that people are able to consume valid discussions and information on pertinent matters as we do here every single morning. I see New Jersey in the house this morning also. I'm seeing two people actually, one after the other coming in from New Jersey this morning. So it's always a pleasure to see when persons are sharing in their area. Yes, Glycis, I see you there. And Anthony Edmondson, let me know where you're joining from this morning. I see, is it Miss Class is joining from Region 10. Awesome, Region 10 in the house. Let me know who is here from Region 6. Ganesh has to overnight in GT. Yeah, well, we know Ganesh have difficulty getting through because Ganesh is joining all the way from Region 3. So he has a lot of traveling to do. So on that note, I give Ganesh a free pass this morning on that note because he has to come from very far. I see Paula Stewart there this morning, says New Jersey again. You're present, Edward Brooms. Good morning to you, Edward. Edward, I've been following you for quite some time now on Facebook. Good work in keeping people accountable and basically putting a stop to any misinformation that you see out there. I've been noting it, Edward. Very good work from you. And I'm seeing Marvin Ross there this morning. Also, Marvin, how have you been? Let me know what's going on. You see Ganesh is happy now. I've given him a free pass there. And I see Kurt also there this morning. And is it Janice McPherson? Guys, today's a big day. I don't know how, if you know, I see some of you know, whatever, but Warren Faguer, good morning to you, Warren, joining us there. I'm thinking from Long Island, and you never know with Warren. Warren is always on the road. But good morning to you, Warren, and your wonderful family. I see Anthony Edmondson is there in the house joining us right there from region number 4. You know, region 4 folks repping. And I see region 1 and region 6 has been represented in the house here this morning, which is awesome. You know how I feel about getting information to regions like region 1, region 2, region 7, region 8, region 9. Those regions are of particular interest to me, particularly. And let me just say, it's not a specific bias that just came out of nowhere, but particularly because of the amount of work that was done through the coalition administration while in office to actually get access to information and make it so much easier for the folks in that region. People that did not know before, prior to that, simple things like radio stations and so forth did not exist in those regions. When it comes to access of information, it was not as easy as it became when the coalition got into office. Newspapers were designed specifically for those regions at the level of government and so forth. We had radio stations being set up. We had ICT hubs being set up. A lot of work was put into making sure that folks in those regions are able to get information, because we always believe that an informed people make informed decisions, and we believe that people should be empowered with information so that they will be able to make informed decisions at all times. So that's why I'm always saying it, just in case you're wondering, why I'm having a particular interest there, because I want to make sure that those facilities that have been set up are still active and in use and so forth, because it's not okay for folks there not to be getting information, all the information, not just information from where I am sitting right now, but information from everywhere, so that they can think about it and rationalize for themselves and to see how they will be making their decisions moving forward, informed decisions that will be. So that's my bias there, guys. So just to give you a little bit of history on on those regions when it comes to information, the lack thereof prior to 2050, and the better position they were in there when the coalition left office in 2020. Anybody that knows understands very well what I'm talking about. Guys, I've seen Michael Walcott there this morning speaking about the woman with the $3 million Polari. Well, we're going to have a lot of those conversations as we go along. You know, that's still the biggest issue out there. What has transpired, what is still transpiring, responses that have been given thus far. You know, a lot of ambiguity coming out from so many places that should not be given any ambiguous statement, to say the very least. I see you there joining from the Bronx, Edward Gonzalez. Always a pleasure to have you, Ingrid King. I see you there this morning. Also, guys, share the stream. Make sure that persons are on so that they will benefit from the information. Stop what you're doing, pause, share, hit the share, go to the groups that you're in, make sure that you share to those groups and so forth. Absolutely necessary. We cannot do this by ourselves. It does not make sense for us to have conversations if we're just having it among ourselves. Let us make sure that other people benefit from the discussion, the gravity of the discussions that are brought forward every single morning on this program. And I see you there, Magnell Barrow, and I see that emoji, guys. You're going to be able to be expressing all those sentiments and those comments and those wishes pretty soon. I know you're anxious. Just give it a little while. I'm going to be encouraging you to be dominating the comment section with all of those little emojis in quite a bit. Let me know what's going on at your end. I continue to say, make sure that you do that part. Lots to discuss this morning. Absolutely tons of things happening, and I'm going to touch on the morning papers very soon. But you know, I continue to tell you guys, I'm going to start it off by saying this. I continue to ask and plead every single day. I don't think that we have been on air one single morning in which I did not say, when you're out there on the roadways, be careful. I continue to say, be careful, guys. It's absolutely necessary that when you go out there, you are careful. You're observing all the traffic guidelines. You're following all the rules. You are extremely careful, because your life could be in danger. You could be putting someone else's life in danger. And in a country with a population of less than 1 million persons, we absolutely cannot afford to be losing lives the way in which we have been seeing on the roadways every single day. It's a sad state of affairs. We continue to caution persons out there, each and every one of you, you know, slow down, observe the regulations, don't do things that you're not supposed to do on the road. Please, I am begging you, let your family know that's the only way to go. Everyone should be in tune with that altogether. And before I get into the discussion, I'm just going to pause for a little bit, because we're going to have our special guest in this morning. We're having a very special guest in this morning about to come on. So you know, we're going to always pitch up our lovely sunrise for you this morning as we adjust our set for our guests to come on. So you're just going to bear with us for a quick second as we do that. In the meantime, you know what you have to do. Don't leave without doing it. Share the live stream whilst we have that pause to have our special guest on this morning. Absolutely special, as you know, guys. Share. You're not doing your part unless you're sharing. Linda Webster, I'm seeing you there this morning, Linda. Linda, have you shared as yet? Let me know if you've shared the live stream as yet, Linda. Let me know what's going on at your end. Absolutely necessary for us to get the information out. Linda, did you do your part? And Lizzie Simon, Marlon King, hip hooray. Marlon, you on the money this morning with our comments. You know, it's absolutely important that we have all of you on board. If you hear me faffing around, you know I'm moving, so don't mind
my
me.
mic is hot too. I think I should have dyed my hair. That's what I think I should have done.
I think you should have dyed your hair.
I think I should have dyed my hair too. Good morning, folks. We just got to make sure every day that we, the back end is sorted out, and we're good to go with all the content that we have and everything else. We just want to make sure that you guys get a good program. You spend an hour the very right way.
Most definitely.
Credible,
To
valid
say,
information.
to
That's
say
what
the
we say all
very
the time.
least.
How was the tea this morning, Trudy? I come for the tea,
I know, I know,
I
I
come for the
know.
tea,
I know you came for the tea. I
and
know you came
I
for the
come for the
tea.
guests. I come for the viewers rather. We come for that. Good to have each and every one of you here with us this morning. Really happy that you guys are here, and would rather it no other way.
I like your colors there, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You sure? We're the uniform this morning. In the uniform this
I
morning, let's
was
just grab my
thinking
tea
the same
closer.
thing. I don't know what's going on. We seem to be in uniform this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, yeah. Grab my tea closer.
Guys, I hope you're doing your part. You're not going to be excused this morning for not sharing. You absolutely have to do your
Yeah,
part
but
and
here we
share
are.
this
Good
morning.
morning, guys. Good morning. Happy to be
To
here.
the, and I have
Happy
to,
to be here.
I would like to introduce to you our special guest this morning. Absolutely
I feel
special
special.
guest this morning, none other than the one and only Mr. Sherry
I want
Duncan.
y'all know we big.
It's a pleasure to have you with
It's
us
good to be
here
here. It's good
this
to be on set.
morning,
It's good to
And
be
a
here.
happy birthday. A happy
Thank you
birthday.
so much.
Today is Sherry's birthday, guys.
Yeah.
And it's going to be none other than a birthday for Sherry Duncan. Sherry Duncan has been the one to do things his own unique way.
You're the right person.
I think I am. I think I am. Sherry does everything his own unique way, and today is going to be no different. So we're celebrating the birth anniversary of Mr. Duncan, someone that the country, the Caribbean, the diaspora has grown to love so much and appreciated for
so?
all the work that he's been doing. He doesn't like to be the recipient of all those good words on the spot. You see, he's a little bit of
yeah.
of a
Yeah. what I'm hearing is a lot of sweet talk. That's I hear it. That's what you want to know. What you asking me for? That's what you want to know. What you asking me for?
Most definitely that
Is my
it
hair
always
okay?
cut it. Whenever I
my
go
hair
into
okay?
that zone, everybody's like, "Oh, what do you want?
You know?
What do you want?
Yeah, I
What do
gotta
you
ask
want?"
John. John told me as soon as you go into that zone.
Oh, John told you.
Something is up.
John likes to sell out. I'm gonna have to
So,
talk to him.
as soon as you go into that zone, John says something is up. Something
Something
is
is
up.
up.
Good to be here, though, folks. Good to be here with you guys.
Awesome to have you here. How does
good to
it
be here.
feel? Like, how does it feel? Like, I always have this.
How
does it feel?
how it feels to be big?
Yes, to be a big man now.
As a big boy now.
Yes, how does it feel?
I feel good. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be doing the things that I love. And I'm very happy. I'm happy. Could ask for more.
Could not ask for more.
You could be glutton and scraven.
Yes.
And ask for more. But don't go wrong by Imran House and eat. That's all I tell you. Feeling glutton and scraven. Don't go wrong. Don't go wrong by Imran House.
No, we're gonna be discussing that later on.
Don't go wrong by Imran.
But
I feel good. I feel good.
But Kamal said you're looking fit and proper.
Kamal would know. If anybody would know. Fit
Kamal
and proper.
says you look fit and
Kamal
proper.
has a good eye.
Kamal says it. That's what it is.
Kamal would know. Guys, what we're asking today, I love all the happy birthdays, but we could have happy birthday and then you don't see us on the air tomorrow because these programs that we do, it costs us something to do them. And if you want to say happy birthday, make a donation to the program.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
It doesn't come to me. It goes to offsetting the expenses. And we have been in the red for a little while and we want to come out of the red, guys. So if you have the means and you want to say happy birthday, send us a donation.
Yeah.
Do that for us. That'd be a good way for me to celebrate my birthday. You have a good feel when you know people.
Yes, got you.
You know rent, the light bill and due, the phone bill and due, and that kind of stuff.
The internet bill and so forth.
The internet bill.
Yes.
You have a different feeling when you know that your expenses are covered and we've always been totally publicly funded. So we can talk the things. And that's why today of all days, all day long, I'll be asking folks, especially because it's my birthday, if you want to say happy birthday, say it in a tangible way. Send us a small piece. We can offset our expenses. And you guys know we're available via PayPal, via Zelle, via Cash App, MMG, Western Union, and MoneyGram. You want to know how you can send it any one of these platforms? Our WhatsApp number is 627-6963, 627-6963. We're in the red. We'll like you guys. We bring you valid, credible information here. We got to meet our expenses to keep our programs going. I think that's the best birthday gift I could have, knowing that we can be on air for another year, another 2 years,
Ah,
3 years
that's lovely.
into the indefinite future, but it costs us something to do that. We just want to come and look nice. We want to be able to pay the people that helps us to put it all together and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that those responsibilities are met so we can be good stewards. Right? So donate today. That's what we're going to be asking you guys. Say happy birthday by donating to our
It's a
program.
donation day.
Right? It's a donation
It's a
day.
donation
Say
day.
happy birthday in that.
That's what it
It'll be
is.
most meaningful. It'll be most meaningful.
So I see Fitzbert is asking what is the Cash App address.
Yeah,
And
let me, oh God, I haven't called it out in a long time. I'll get it to you just now. Fitzhubbard Jerrick. Fitzhubbard Jerrick. Respect and manners. Fitzhubbard is a tad older than I am. A tad older.
A tad.
Just went off into retirement and is having a fantastic time in retirement. And you know, I want to grow up to be like Fitzhubbard. You work hard, right? And then you retire and you travel and you connect with family. You donate to programs like this. You're a philanthropist and so on. And you know, a good fella. A good fella. Fitzhubbard, respect and manners. Lives out there in Connecticut. Lovely fellow. Goes to church, serves his God. Very quiet man. Respect and manners. And everybody business. So, you know, I hear you talking with some people the other morning. Clark from Barbados said, you know, Judith is getting acquainted with the family member and tell somebody hi. Her husband, I think it was.
Yes,
tell Bert or somebody like that hi.
I'm telling you.
You see, over time you get to favor the family members. You know the disgusting ones. You
persons
know,
are asking for you to pin the Cash App. Just pin the Cash App handle for them there. Yeah. And you see, such to sell chippers just pinned it there.
Yeah, I didn't want to call it wrong.
In the ring 592.
In the ring 592.
Dollar sign in the ring.
Dollar sign in the ring 592. I didn't want to call it wrong.
Is it to sell? You say you know your people that knows you.
Yeah. The MMG is our WhatsApp number 627-6963.
Yeah,
that's the MMG number 627-6963. Our MMG number is our WhatsApp number 627-6963, and of course the what do you call it? the Cash App.
Yes.
The Cash App also is what's the Cash App? In the ring 592.
Dollar sign in the ring 592.
Dollar sign, but it's standard.
It's
dollar sign
standard, but that's what it is.
Yeah, in the ring 592. And Zelle, we got Zelle too. It's also in the ring 592 at gmail.com. That's the email address. In the ring 592 at gmail. Folks who want to say happy birthday, send us a donation.
Let's start Sharon's this year off. Sharon, how old are you today?
How old are you now? How much is the score?
I do Sharon don't know.
I always think I'm always it's like I think the score is 20. Is it 10? What is the score? I can tell you from there.
You tell us from there.
Right. 627-6963 is the MMG number. 627-6963. That's the MMG number. And I hope the graphic artist or graphics guy put it up so we can put it into a graphic. 627-6963 is the MMG number. 627-6963. A score 10. So what is 10? 10 is a decade.
Yes, sure. 10 is a decade.
I just want to be accurate. So it's 4 decades and 3. 2 scores and 3. That sounds better. 2 scores and 3.
Oh my goodness,
Two
sure.
scores
You
and 3.
easy. 2 scores and 3. However you take it, guys. 2 scores and 3.
I like the 4 decades. That's the only thing. 2 scores and 3. Right? 2 scores and 3. If I only had my phone, I'd read some of the stuff that I got this morning. My mother messaged me this morning.
Oh, lovely.
I like that. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but
are you gonna be kidding me?
I want to read it. You know, give me a second, guys. It's a functional set. You know, it's apologies. We gotta get some rolling chairs.
I think so.
Let me grab the F.
So Sheridan, 2 scores and 3.
2 scores and 3.
All right, that's what he is. 2 scores and 3.
And I feel great.
He says he's feeling great. I don't know if he's gonna do the run this year from Georgia to Barbados.
Yes, that's on the bucket list.
He has been promising to do this.
That's on the bucket list.
This, Sharon, when you go into that 2 score column, you gotta get things done a little earlier than usual, right? You have to do some things a little earlier than usual. So, guys, let us make today very special for Mr. Duncan. Let us make sure that everyone out there
Donate. That's
do
what you
your
can do. That
part
will help
to
us.
donate, and let us start this year off for him, this miles. Let's kick start it on that positive note, so he doesn't have to be worrying about making sure that he covers all the bills to be on air to bring credible information. So that is going to be an awesome way of making sure that his birthday is
Yeah.
well spent and all of that. You see,
Yeah.
he's a big man now.
As a big boy now. So
Right.
my mother's gonna send me a scripture, and
Okay.
she says, "Happy 43rd birthday.
Mhm.
Time remains elusive. Cheers to a long and rewarding life. May Almighty God continue to keep you under His covering." And she says, she always wants to send a psalm. She wants to make sure she documented historically.
Mhm.
Psalms 91 and 23.
Mhm.
Yep,
Wow.
that's
You
what she
see?
said. The big lady said that.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm constantly thinking about time and how I spend my time, what I give my energy to. And this is part of what I want to give my energy to, and
Mm.
ensuring that all of our folks out there,
Mm.
at home and in diaspora, they always have information, because we understand how useful that is. You cannot make. I've learned it very early in life.
Mm.
You cannot make good decisions with inaccurate or inadequate
Mhm.
information.
Yeah.
Right? You
Of
cannot make
course.
good decisions like that. Whether you are an individual, you're in your family,
Mm.
you're a leader, you cannot make good decisions with inadequate information. And that's why we said the other part is what you were telling our viewers this morning.
Mhm.
Informed
Yeah.
citizens make informed choices.
Correct. And
Yeah,
that's what we aspire to, for the program to be built on all the time. We aspire for the program to be the platform, the persons everybody could go. That's the go-to program. So you don't have to question whether or not the information coming out
yeah,
is credible, because it is, because we build a track record of credibility throughout. We make sure that we fact check whatever it is that
yeah.
we bring forward and so
And
forth.
I love that you said that,
Mhm.
because people send us a lot of information on a daily
Yeah.
basis. They send us a lot of information, and then they say, "Well, I see you share what I sent you." And fact checking for us is important
Yeah.
too. If we hear something's happening in a region, we call one of our MPs, we call a councillor on the ground, or somebody who we know in the area. Have you heard this? Have you seen this? What
Mm.
do you think about this? This is what we're hearing. This is what we're seeing. This is what's happening where you are. Fact checking, and I heard the Guyana Press Association say
Mm.
that quite recently. Verification is an important part of news
Good.
gathering and
and,
so on,
and
and
journalism
dissemination.
altogether, yeah.
Yep, verification. Gotta verify. People call you all the time and tell you a lot of stuff. Half the stuff we hear, three-quarters of the stuff we hear, we can't even publish. It sounds good, sounds salacious,
Hmm.
sounds newsworthy, but we haven't had a chance to fact check it. And sometimes it's impossible to fact check, and we don't just want to go on a whim and a fancy. And that is why
Mm.
I think in almost drawing on 2 years for our broadcast, In the Ring started, and then we started this program and the podcast and so on. You haven't been able to see a lot of times, if
Got
any,
you.
the government, put out a statement saying what you said is incorrect.
Yeah, because
Right? We
we
talk
don't
stuff
go down
about the
that road.
ministries, the
Hmm.
corruption, the nepotism, and that kind of stuff. And they've never been able to say you're inaccurate. Because when we
Yeah,
put out some information, we can stand by it. We
yeah,
can stand by that. And that's why when people call us asking and say, oh, social media man, take down this, take down that. No, no, we don't do that, because we
yeah.
fact check. And once it's factual and we post it, we stand by that.
Yeah, and I'm very, very, and is the quickness in getting the information. And one of the things that I can refer to also was the whole issue with the Soulgate matter. The very fact that you were the very first person to bring that information out and show the timeline on all the business association of the individual, and that was since back in February, and then it was quite something to see only recently within the month. Persons saw some newspapers and so picking up with the same thing that was said by yourself. Those information was put forward since February. So quite a bit of
Yeah.
work done
Yeah.
in the back end and all of that when it
Yeah.
comes to making sure that the research has
Yeah.
been conducted and all of those things. People send things like Sherry said all the time, but you just can't push things forward unless it's in line with the facts.
Yeah. Yes, here we are.
Basically, there is
Yes, here we
something to
are.
substantiate the information that has been brought to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always,
But
every
thanks,
time.
thanks to all of the well wishes. I want to be a better servant.
Mhm.
I think, and this is how I think we serve the people.
Yeah.
Be able to give them factual information on a daily basis. All the platforms that we have, it's FYI in the morning, below the belt, middays, in the ring in the evenings on
Mm-hmm.
our website, Credible Sources, and we can be doing other stuff too. Not
Mm-hmm.
only us and me, perhaps at the front of it, but other folks going to be taking the lead. You know, I like to be at the back, really and truly. I don't necessarily like to be up front. I like to be, you know, being creative and thinking and putting stuff, you know, out there and seeing people react it, credible, valid information.
No,
And I
I've
think we can be
always
doing
been
more
like
of
that
that.
too.
And I think I want to be a better servant in that regard, being on the ground, talking with people, helping to solve situations, seeing us head back into government. You know, focus on that too. I think I want to be a better friend. You know, I want to be a better brother.
Oh, you're a great
I want
friend.
to be a
Don't
better
worry.
uncle.
You're a
You
great
know,
friend.
I think
So,
I want to try to be a better husband because I've been thinking about it all week and you know, for a long time, more so as you meet these milestones, you always look back on the year you had. I think I want to be a better husband. I think I want to be a better
there's
father.
always,
Right?
I think there's always room for
Right?
those bit of improvement,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to family. And I can understand that when you are the older you get in life, like the more you realize that you have to minimize on work a little bit and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maximize a little bit more on
Yeah.
family time.
I want
So
to give more of
yeah.
myself to that. You know, I was with my wife. My buttons come undone. I was with my wife when I took off my wedding band. One morning, got up with my hands swollen. I think something bit me. You know, one of them jagabats. And I was in the car with her, and I was showing her how my hands was swelling, and I took my wedding ring off and put it in my top pocket, and I never saw it back since then. I don't know. I think I bent over somewhere. I lost my wedding band, but I want my wedding band back.
Yes.
I think so. No, those things I was thinking about. You
Those
know,
things are important.
yeah, I want my
For
wedding
women
band back. I want a
especially.
better marriage.
I think.
I want to be a better father. I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better citizen. You know, and you know that is what I'm striving for. I think you could be the best politician out there. This is only and I reserve this as my own thinking. You could be the best politician out there, but if I'm not a good father, it wasn't worth it.
Got you.
You
Makes
know,
sense.
I could have been the best doing this social media influencer and whatever they call us, commentators and all of that, news gatherers and so on. But if I wasn't a good husband, I don't think it would have been worth it. Right? If that is the only thing on my grave, he was a good father, he was a good husband.
You have lived a
I
life.
think I've lived. Are you talking about the grave a lot recently? We coming to that.
We are coming
We
to
coming
that.
to
We
that.
are coming to that.
A lot about the grave.
Yeah.
So thanks to all the well wishes, folks. Thanks to all the well wishes. Really, really great to see all of the comments. It means a lot to me. It means that.
Well, it's guys, continue like Sharon said a little bit earlier. You know, make sure that you do your part in donating to the program so that this could
Let
be a
that be
good
the happy birthday.
a good kickstart for this
yeah,
new year
yeah.
to him altogether.
Yeah, I am very happy from where we've come.
Yeah.
I'm very happy from where we've come as a program. I've seen the morning program improving. We've been tweaking the quality.
Yes.
And you know, folks who join in the ring now, in the ring didn't start like that. It didn't start
I
like
think you
that.
should go back to the first
But
program.
it's tweaking, you would holler. It's the constant tweaking, and you know, as people, we get feedback from you guys who is so important to us. We try to tweak and so on, and we're going to be constantly upgrading and so on. We got some new equipment. We're still kind of integrating into everything. Give you, you know, makes us look better. You know, we look like we get black out here, better audio and all that. So we're trying to improve for you guys. Every cent you guys have donated to our program goes back into the program.
She different.
Right? It goes back into the program. So, yeah.
Chazelle says, in the ring, the rusty.
It's true. It's true. It's very true. It's very true. But we're able to refine the product over time, and we'll continue to do so. Thanks to all the well
correct.
wishes.
That is correct.
What are we talking about this morning, Treat?
Well, the only thing,
Enough of me.
and before we went on, before you came on set, you know, I was just adding my voice again, as we always do, to the fact and to the plea for persons to be careful on the roadways. Because
we
have every single
madness
day,
out there.
it's craziness out there, and you know, yesterday was no different, and a woman was killed and a man critically hurt in an accident there on Mandela yesterday, and it's sad, extremely sad as this. A 42-year-old mother of 5 died. And these are things that we are asking persons to be so careful so that these things can be avoided. Everyone, all road users, be extremely careful out there, you know. as it is right about now, the matter is being handled by the investigation is being handled by the police
Yeah.
and so forth. As the details emerge, you're going to get it. But we have to say our sincere condolences to the family there, and it is extremely sad to the children altogether. I can only imagine what is going through their heads at this time, But extremely sad situation, and we have to continue to plead with you
Yeah.
all to be
Yeah.
careful. Please be careful
Yeah.
out there, guys.
Practice all of the
Mm-hmm.
all of the C's, the 5 C's: caution and care, consideration, all of that. Each of us got a responsibility. Whether you have the right of way, because some people think because they got the right of way, they can keep doing 120
Yeah.
miles across that
Yeah,
intersection or what have you.
we
You
all have to
gotta
be
slow down.
careful.
You gotta slow
Especially
down.
given the fact that there's so many things that you have to be cognizant on. Only recently a school child lost her life
Yeah. Yeah.
because of
On the
trying to
pedestrian
cross a
crossing, the same
pedestrian
way.
crossing and all.
The very same way.
We have to be extremely cautious on the road. All the road users be cautious. And I know that the lady, Odessi Sam is her name, the woman that lost her life. So again, I say our sincere condolences
Yeah.
from this end to her family, friends, especially to her children. That's very, very sad situation. So we continue, as I say, please, guys, be careful.
Let
on
us
the
be
roadways.
careful out there. And we've been talking about this here. We say this is the other pandemic we're dealing with. Is the carnage on our roads. It's the domestic violence that we're dealing with. It's also what's happening on our rivers and our waterways.
Yeah.
It's always a boat
But we didn't even
capsizing,
get to
taking on
cover,
water. There's
all,
all
we
of
didn't
that.
even get to cover that particular one that happened over the weekend. But so much it went on, so much it went
Correct.
on. We didn't even get a chance to cover that. But we have, just be careful, slowing down. It's not going to hurt you. You're never too much in a hurry to avoid those situations. Make sure that you are careful.
Yeah. Gwenard Anderson says this morning a minibus run off the road straight into the canal. Where was that? You see
I
that?
did not even get
Let
to
us
capture
know
that.
where that was. So we continue to say condolences to the family of the woman who lost her life just yesterday afternoon on Mandela Avenue here. We gotta, whether you have the right to wear or not,
Arrive
caution,
alive.
caution,
Arrive alive. That
caution.
has been our plea all the time.
And again, this country and the leadership we have, they gotta take on this issue. Other countries have the same problem, have dealt with it, but you gotta take it on head on, right? And you gotta fund it. An education program. You gotta is you educate, you penalize where necessary, and all of that. Enforce, penalize, and so on, right? But we gotta take it on, and we can get better.
Yeah.
Mexico City was quite like
But
this.
even
Colombia was quite
but
like
even
this.
we have, listen, when it comes to the road, the use of the roadway and all of that, it's never one issue. There's never something in isolation, and we have to look at something in totality. And in one of the things we've been talking about also is the manner in which the road work is being done, and the fact that a lot of prominent exit points and so forth from various communities is being blocked off by road islands and all. It cannot be chaotic like that. Everybody has to take responsibility, do their part in making sure that there is some kind of ease in using the roadway also. So that's a different dimension for us to take the conversation in. But overall, once you're on the roadways, you have to acknowledge that there are rules and laws guiding the process altogether. All road users, you have a responsibility. And like you always say, the helm of those are always pedestrians. So make sure that those are the people that you're always looking for. When you're always looking for pedestrians, you will be obliged to go slowly and cautiously. So
correct.
It's very sad, very sad.
Correct.
Yeah.
As we pick up on what's brewing this morning, there's lots of talk happening about Imran Gaza Sattar and some comments he posted on TikTok saying how he wants to kill out all black people. When I heard some of his comments, it reminded me of one of the episodes of Game of Thrones, The Red Wedding.
Oh.
He said he wants to cook food and invite black people and poison out everybody and so on. It reminds me of that episode of Red Wedding, Game of Thrones. And if you guys know that epic trilogy series, there was a wedding happening and the doors were locked, and it didn't end nice for some folks. It didn't end nice at all.
Well, what I can say is that when I heard the comments from their Imran Gaza Sattar is what's the son. when I heard it, I remember I was sitting right where you are right now. When we had our very first guest, Mr. and Mrs. Hughes here, and I was making a point that I believe the younger generation is moving away from all of that, and I just said no. Nigel said no. He said no. I have to disagree with you. No, they're not. And when I heard the comments coming out of that young man, I understand exactly what Nigel Hughes was referring to, because he was basically referring to the fact that if this is what they're hearing at home, and so that's how they're going to grow up. And we have an issue as a society. We cannot just put it aside. And I always say I call out racism at every front. I don't care who it comes from. You make a racist statement, you make racist comments. I always call it out. I'm never going to be on a platform with someone making a racist statement and I'm just going to ignore it altogether.
Correct. We tend to do things a little quieter on the morning show.
Yeah.
A little less risque and all of those other things. And so we apologize for some of the audio here.
Strong language.
Strong language, and we apologize in advance, but we have to give it to you raw. Trying to edit it wouldn't do any justice to what was said, and it is out there, and so we want to give you a sense of what Mr. Imran.
We have to confront
Imran Gaza from TikTok.
Issues Imran Gaza have real conversations.
Take a listen, folks.
Fucking police, them all look like a fucking thief. Yeah, black man just like fucking jump houses. Yeah, fucking Matty black man, shoot you like a Matty black man. Your mother's gonna get fucking sense, eh? The fucking man down there and gonna. Oh, mother's gonna the policeman. Yeah, gotta look for. Kill the police out. No fucking cool the people do ya not. Is yeah, old Matty black man shoot a Matty black man. Your mother's gonna go from fucking racist now, eh? Your mother's gonna dotage bad black man. And your mother's gonna get sense. Like I can never fucking go school. I need to go fucking school. Your mother's gonna dotage bad. I never see fucking black man so yet. Burning fucking road, burning up fucking people vehicle. But hey, black people and pies na your mother's gonna out keep a party. And fucking make sure invite all your mother's gonna all the black man in this country. Cook and get your mother's gonna fit and show pies in your fucking food and get you dead out of your mother's gonna. After I kinda get no fucking sense, black man. Me said I am known as fucking Gaza on TikTok. I kill all your mother's cunt out if I get the fucking chance to kill black man. I shoot all your mother's cunt out.
Yeah. This kind of hate is real. And we see it operate differently in different parts of the world. America has a hate problem too, right? They have the extreme. This is our extreme here, in a sense. It hasn't gone past this in that sense. But who knows where we're going as a country? The American system, somebody takes a gun, you're going to school and you shoot up people, you go in a mall and you just, that kind of hate. If I had the opportunity, I'd kill out. And the language there, very, 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 very strong language, as you heard. Where does that come from? It makes you wonder. What does a child grow up hearing in the home? That makes him think that is acceptable language, that's acceptable conduct, those are acceptable ideas. You hear all the stereotypes in there. Black people, they like eat. You gotta feed them and you kill them out, right? I don't like walk. A lot of misconceptions.
Well,
there.
That's why yesterday morning in particular, I called out someone from in the comment section and I made this point that you can't be a grown ass man making comments like that.
Yeah.
Right? It's not acceptable, and unless we realize and have the real conversation. I listened to that tape quite a few times. Because you're appointed, it's unbelievable that somebody could literally be thinking like that. And I believe that you get to the point that you're saying, like, how do you move forward from this? Like, what is it that needs to be done to move forward from this? And I have to say, at this point in time, people, the administration, they nitpick at things when it comes to looking for things. You in particular you are of particular interest to them. They look for a slip of the tongue. You say the word jagabat, you say something called trench grapple, up the court step and so forth, and with that particular video circulating, I'm yet to hear one bit of condemnation or anybody addressing and say they should not be, and it is not acceptable. But yet the same people that want to appear to be measuring things by a particular yardstick, they throw that yardstick out the door when it comes to addressing these severe issues. You know, when it comes to race in particular, I think we need several platforms. You know, it has to be an issue that we confront head on. We cannot just go around it. Cannot be just be a part of a conversation on a program, because we're doing our part as best as we could. But I think when it comes to race issues, it has to be a conversation that is had at every level. These things need to be addressed at the school level. They have to be a part. When I saw that, the only thing I'm thinking about is that there have to be a curriculum change at the level of the school. We have to have education. There must be a system in place that you have experts in the school, persons that are trained to deal with this, actually teach these things.
Has to happen.
It has to have. There must be a part.
Has to happen.
We cannot accept, and this is my thing. We cannot accept the reality today and say, "Oh well, this is what it is." We need to do everything in our power to create a change moving forward. And that could be my only way to look at it, because I'm a mother. I have children. And I don't want to live a life in which my children and then their children have to be in a country that is no better off than the way in which I came and met it. And there's a big problem there in everything that he said. There's serious issues there.
Dan Hopkinson is asking, where's the ERC? And I think, Jarita, you put it in such good context for us, that a man who picked up one day and left the compound of GCOM with servers in his hands with the statements of poll, and nobody told him to do that, pick it up on his own. He said he felt that there was a threat to the building, and he left for an hour or two. He said he had him in his car up the road, right? We talked about that on the program. He has no problem with that, right? But he perceived that I call him a jagabat and a trench crapo, right? And suddenly the whole cybercrime legislation is thrown at me. A young man comes up and talks about genocide and killing out Black people, and it doesn't offend anybody on the other side who's very keen on cybercrime laws and inciting violence and inciting racial hostility and all of that. Very, very quiet. And people want to talk about one Guyana. Clearly, Imran Sattar does not appreciate one Guyana, and he doesn't want one Guyana. You hear him talk about Mati and so on. There's no one that's there.
No, but you need to listen. That conversation still have to be had too. We are in a country where when people use the word one, you have to literally ask them, define it. Define it. You define this one Guyana that you were talking about, because their one Guyana could very well be, and I'm not saying I'm not referring to Imran Sattar. I'm referring to all persons utilizing the terminology one Guyana, because their definition and understanding of one Guyana could very well be, well, oh, this group is at the helm of things, and they send down little hampers and so for the rest. But we won, because we're making sure when we send down this hamper, it's sending down to you all that don't have anything else. We have to conversations. I'm trying to not get into it all, and trying to look at this matter dispassionately as much as I possibly can, because it's something that irks my soul when it comes to racism in our country. Because I raise my children, and I am supremely proud of the children that I have. I've raised my children to not look at the color of somebody's skin like that. I have raised my children so different. The conversations are had in my home. And if a total stranger walks into my home, I have a conversation and refers to someone as Black. And so my 7-year-old daughter would say, we don't speak like that. My 7-year-old daughter would say, we don't speak like that. And because of that, these things irk my soul, because I know when she goes out into the society, she is going to take that philosophy with her. You will never see my children online saying something like that. Not once. None of them. And I could say that proudly. And it goes to show that the teaching that you have at home, it goes a long way. And when you're in your home and you think it is okay to make a racist statement with among your children, in front of your children, if you think it's okay, then you have a lot coming and a lot to learn, because I consistently tell you that if something affects one section of the society, Never believe that you are going to be exempted from the repercussion of those actions that will be there to follow. Never believe that you're going to be exempted from the trouble, the chaos that you're creating when you have a racist conversation in your home with your children. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
People are learning either by default or they're learning by the deliberation of the teaching that they're given, and to be spewing that, to feel comfortable, you can come on social media and say, I would kill out anybody, whether it was because it happens on both sides. Let me just say that too. It happens on both sides.
And we have to be mature people, and we have to call it out from every side.
The stereotypes and the racism. Sometimes people when people are asked to examine their thinking, their perception, about otherness and about the other people and so on, and what they have said, they realize that this is actually racist, what I believe, and how I think. But I had the ERC wrote to me once. I can't remember specifically what it was about. Something I said on social media, but it was quite a strange letter that they had sent to me, because they said to me, and this is the Ethnic Relations Commission. They said they found nothing wrong with what I said. I didn't break any laws and so on, but they were cautioning me, and I was wondering why. But that said, you wonder whether the ERC don't see this kind of stuff that's circulating, right? You could say something as innocent as, Jagabat, and people say inciting racial hostility. You don't say one cook a pot and kill out an entire people, right? And that seems to affect no one. Rightly so. I saw the Minister of Social Services, I think it is, Vindhya Prasad, in Manipur yesterday, talking to the folks there, offering them the services of the ministry in terms of who would have suffered trauma and all of that by that horrific incident that took place there, where people had their goods and so on taken from them and were assaulted and so on. Reprehensible in and of itself. But what happened to the people who are traumatized when they hear stuff like that? If I had the chance, I'd kill all of y'all. Y'all as thieves and vagabonds and hooligans, right? Who offers trauma to the folks who listen to that and have to have their children endure stuff like that?
But one of my, we're spending so much time on this particular topic that's absolutely necessary. We need to, because one of the things that I was thinking about is that, man, I always tell people that our country is really small when it comes to our population size, and you cannot imagine, because this is a young man in particular. This is a young man that would have interacted at the level of his school and so forth with people with different ethnicities, particularly those of African ethnicity and so forth. Afro-Guyanese classmates would have been with him and all of that. So it begs the question, and as a parent again, I'm sending my children out to school with all the teaching that I'm trying to give them at home, and so, but this is what they're going to face, and this is the brutal reality that is on the ground, and guess it's not acceptable.
Somebody says,
it's not acceptable.
I don't want to be your friend because you're black or because you're black.
What
right?
What is going on?
And that's the challenge. And one wonders, Twitter, if an apology is sufficient, right? One of the things we're going to deal with.
Forget about that. Forget about the apology and all of that nonsense. That's not the issue, That is the issue is what was said in the first place, right? It's come in and say you're sorry. It doesn't stop it, because the same thing happened when it was the woman Auntie Sucky or whatever was her name that came and gave an apology. But here he is giving the same thing after. I'm going to share this little bit of story before we moved on, because I was in a taxi, because Bartik is my home, so I'm always traveling back and forth. I was in a taxi coming down from Parika to Georgetown recently, and the young man was there. He is as dark as ever, hair curly on his head and all of that. And he was talking to me about the same thing, racism and all of that. And he said, could you tell me what race I am? And I said, I could make a damn good guess, because he was what we call Douglas. His mother's Indian, his father's black. But he said, I'll tell you. He said, I have heard from my grandmother, and that is his mother's mother. He said, I've heard the worst racist remarks coming from her. He said, I've heard it so many times that I grew up under those circumstances, hearing all of those things, although his father was of Afro descent. We have got to change what we're doing. Now he is there, a little child. He should not have been exposed to any of that, right? He should not have been, but he was, right? And there he is in the world now, but he has the maturity to say, you know what? He acknowledged the difficulties that persons have right now in the country when it comes to rape, because he has lived it. He is the embodiment of the trauma that children face growing up. When it comes to race comments.
I raised the issue of the apology because I saw recently, as part of all of that's happening nationally, that 16 persons were charged with what was the offense there for what took place in Monrepo. 16 persons. I don't know the exact charge, but I was wondering if they apologize, if it makes it okay, right? You know, there's a whole act about racial hostility and provoking unrest and all of that. I wonder if they apologize, if people say, oh, yeah, all right, good. Right? I'd vex, you know, I'd vex, and I didn't know what they're doing at the time. I'd upset because Imran Sitar yesterday offered an apology of sorts. And it's difficult to listen to it even more than the first, because if he said he was upset in the first instance and he was vexed and all of that because of what he saw happening in Monrepo, now that he's calm and his language has not changed from the black
because
people and so on.
Because it says that he doesn't see it as something wrong. That's what it says. So that he was conditioned to not see that as something wrong.
So here is Imran, as he dubs himself, Imran Gaza from TikTok, with his apology.
Sorry. Hey guys, good afternoon. What's up? Well, y'all don't know his Gaza again. Well, you guys, yesterday the 2 video I posted up last night, I've been angry, I've been passionate, I've been vexed, right? But sorry to the black people that want to say, oh, keep apart and kill out all y'all and stuff. I'm sorry for that, and I hope y'all understand it. I mean, I vexed yesterday all day. I've been vexed, yes. I've been vexed though, but I'm sorry though, right? So, yeah, hope y'all see the videos and y'all understand. I mean,
So how many other persons can say, if we were to look at the apology, because I was trying to just don't look at it because it doesn't address the issue at all. The issue is still there. 100 people could come and say, they're sorry at this point. The issue of racism is still there. And as stupid as it is, because
tell them black people who are second cook and kill you. Sorry, man. Sorry. I'm upset.
But it begs the question: who else can go out there and say that they're sorry? Kind of persons that I know that there's some bit of news this morning. Also, I think it's 16 persons who are arrested when it comes to riotous actions and looting. Right? So are they going to be able to say, "Well, I was sorry, I was angry, I was upset"?
That's the point I'm making. Right? Could you say that?
Could that be said?
Does it become okay then? Because you say, I'll vex. Tell them black people who are threatening to kill. I'll vex, man. I'll vex.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. Right? And, well, Imran wasn't the only person who took this social media yesterday. There's another gentleman. I can't, name is right there. But he had some similar sentiments. Imran, you hear the similar racist remarks. You hear the similar stereotypes. And, again, reprehensible too. Right? And you wonder when you listen to this. I have a very acute appreciation for cultures. I love differences of culture, but I don't think that alone is sufficient to say this is responsible for it. I love Indian culture. I have nephews who are Singhs by blood. I have nephews who are Pandays by blood. You have to engage, the 6 people of this country. It'll all be blood running around, percolating there. But here's this other fella, and you wonder, how did they grow up? What influenced their worldview? It's a worldview, the expression there, They heard that, and that has become their worldview, right? Whether you like it or not, that's why I said, deliberately or informally, you're indoctrinated.
Correct. That is
right?
correct.
You go into a company to work, you're indoctrinated into the company language, the tech speaker, however they talk in that company. You go into church, you live in a home, and you become acclimatized to that. That's why your 7-year-old daughter could say, we don't talk like that in our family.
We don't speak like that.
I find it strange.
Yeah. They're adamant. Right? My 16-year-old will not say it in those polite way. She will not say it like that.
Yeah, right. And so that's that. Whether it's done deliberately, right? We don't like Indian people, right? Because some of that happens too. We don't like black people. It happens too. You wonder, how did we, what are the chasms you have in our society in which those things are percolating? Listen to the other fella. Do we have it?
Yeah, the fucking mad people that want to run a road. The government should put out on fucking law and stupid people who go protest, shoot all of your mother's cunt and kill you. Are you fucking crab dog? Where I gotta run and thief people thing? Go look fucking walk. Are you junkie looking scunt? One man fucking dead. All of you run go protest at your mother's cunt. Are you fucking stupid? Are you hungry? Why not go look walk? Why not clean fucking drainer? Are you junkie? Are you? Eh? What kind of have to fucking do? The government are return laugh for shoot all of your mother's cunt. Cause too much innocent fucking people life are go behind this thing. You saw innocent people get catch in between. Are you fucking crab dog? Are you? Why not crawl in your fucking hole and stay easy?
As there's no easy way to have this conversation, because
And that is the trouble I have, because you have leadership who is even failing to engage it.
No, but I'm
Right?
going somewhere else. Leadership failing to engage is one thing, but leadership subtly pushing the same narrative is
It's even worse.
It's another
It's
issue.
even worse.
I when I listened to that particular piece of footage there that came from the one that you just played, what I remembered instantly when he's talking about food. And this whole thing with people talking about food and this racism that comes through this comment about who is hungry and all of that. What I remember very keenly, and I was absolutely upset. I spoke about it, and I'm going to remind persons about it now. At the level of the National Assembly, no less of a person than a sitting vice president made a comment that alluded to food. All right? Made a comment.
Let's come for the food.
To food.
Let's come for the food. And then critics
for the food.
always talking about the hungry bellies,
right? They coming for the food, right? And when you have someone in that seat with those comments and those underlying meaning that he knows more than anyone else comes with it.
It's dog whistling.
That's what it is.
It's dog whistling.
That's what it is.
Right? You don't have to come out and say, I hate Afro-Guyanese, I hate Indo-Guyanese.
How could you hate, like, I try to understand when it comes to illiteracy altogether. And I try to exempt a lot of things and understanding about myself. I said, you know what? You were school, you were raised in a good family. Your mother was always there teaching you good principles and morals, and you went on, you got a higher education and all of these things. But when you hear people like that giving the dog whistling to folks that have no better understanding from themselves, they know that, this is the leadership that we looked on. If this is what they are saying, and we should go out and we should have the same. We should say the same things altogether. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for it altogether. We have a real issue when it comes to race, and I always say, I'm going to say it again right now. People need to get their damn heads out of the sand and realize that the division that is there with race, it is taking away all the power that they can collectively have when it comes to the big issue of classism and poverty and those real economic issues that don't see color at the bottom of it. But they cannot see it. The heads are buried in the sand, and they go through with that ideology, all of that. I saw some pictures circulating on Facebook with some folks that were looting, clearly Indian persons involved in the looting and so forth, but they're not going to say and address that. But you know why those folks were there? Because as Indian as they are, they're in the struggle just like the others too. And unless people make the decision, the conscious decision, to get their head out of the sand and realize that when they go on with racial slurs and racism in their actions and in their tone, their words altogether, they are removing the power that they can collectively have, and that Guyanese can collectively have as a people, that you can demand more from the administration. And we have to fight it. We have to provide the leadership to fight it, because like I just said, we're doing nothing,
Yeah.
shared, we're doing nothing if we do not leave the country better than we have met it. And this issue of racism is one that I intend to have a lot of saying on, even if you have to go out there into the communities and create platforms for persons to vent their cold hard truth about racism and how it's affecting them
Well,
on all
I
sides.
think Navindra Lekram and Imran
They're doing quite
Sutar,
some bit.
they're venting quite a bit. But I think also, folks like Priya Manik Chan could post something in a second if you get caught in his lips. I didn't say anything on this, and this is circulating. This has gone now viral
I give up on
nationally.
some people. I give up on some of them.
Priya
Some of
Manik
them
very
need to
quick,
just be
very
removed.
quick to make a post. You just say something out of line. If we say something out of line now on this program, if I had gone on like that, quick a post.
Before
you
the
see how
program
quick,
can be done,
right?
clip up.
Yep,
you know?
yep. Sherry Duncan allowing people to assassinate the president. He's conspiring, aiding, and abetting very quick. And then the Air finale gonna come and say, "Oh, I hold him a family closer tonight." Because them boys
There
out
will,
for me.
you know what
Now
clip,
he making no comments
you know
because
what clip these folks that protest to have this ideology of one Guyana. You know what clip they would never take? A clip of us saying that racism is not acceptable.
Yeah.
They will never clip that. That's nothing that they're interested in. It doesn't fit their agenda, so they will never say that. Look, oh, Mr. Duncan and Ms. Finance were on this morning and they were denouncing racism, on strong terms and all of that. That will never happen because it does not fit their agenda, because they are least concerned with actually changing that narrative. They're least concerned with fixing the issue because it benefits them altogether to have our country completely divided. And I say to the folks out there, I know on the morning programs that I know that persons come on from all platforms. They come, they cuss, they vent, however, they put it forward in the comment section. We have to understand as a people that we are holding ourselves back when we continue that nonsense of a mentality. It is not moving us forward. And I don't know what else. Yesterday I saw someone say Girardi flagging a dead horse. Well, I have to say, I'm going to do it to the very end, because I have to continue to say it. You have to understand the economic implication. I always say everything goes back to money. Every single thing goes back to money. There's an economic implication when you go out there and make racial comments about the people in this country. Yeah. Whether you're Indian, whether you're black, whatever. When you make those comments, they are economic implication that follows through. And that's why you are allowed to continue the crap altogether. And unless you understand that, you are not going to be able to move forward. And people would love for you to stay in your shadow of ignorance, because you don't understand the power you would have if all of you come together and decide that enough is enough and that there is strength if we unify as against when we are divided.
So let's talk about economic implications, because, the government has begun compensating the vendors from Monrepo who would have suffered loss. I'm not too certain how they're computing how much loss they would have suffered, who had what. But, you've been talking about one woman said she had 3 million in egg ball and pylori. She lost 3 million in egg ball and pylori. I think she got $300,000. I know another woman said she suffered some losses, and she got 1.5 million. And, you suffered loss. Maybe it's good the government is doing what they're doing. But in another,
I have an issue there.
In another segment, another segment of our country, we're hearing another tune. We're hearing, allow the process to work. Now, if your chain gets snatched, well, it's an Indian person who did it, or an Afro-Guyanese, or a Chinese man who snatched a chain, right? The perpetrator is brought to justice. He either provides restitution, he's charged, he pays a fine. You can sue him.
Few days behind bars, community service, all sorts of things. You sue him, what do you call it, in tort, and you sue for damages, what you have lost, and so on. But here is a case the government accepted immediately, and you compensate. Here's a case where Quinnen Backett has been shot 6 times, 5 times in his back, 1 time to his chest. And his family, they're being told up the road, allow the process to work. Nobody's going to compensate his family for his loss. Was he the breadwinner in his family? Were they working? Are they mouths to feed in that family? Right? That's a family that is hurting. They suffered loss. Right? I don't know if they did somebody anything that he
deserve that kind of end. Right? Nobody's hurrying up there to Golden Grove to meet with the community to compensate them, and so people look at this and we can't escape it and say, oh, some people got a shortcut process and some people got to follow a long process.
No.
Sue could come in the living room and he handles all the agreements and he has all the support, but another man got to go to the company and ask to see somebody and wait days and stand up, and you still get turned down at the end. But some people get ushered into the living rooms and so on. So what is the process?
All right. So let me start from this point. I would not be director of finance if I did not go down this route, and you have to bear with me for this positioning that I take altogether sometimes. But my first issue is, and I cannot help but calling it out. At no point in time there is no system available in government right now. There is no pathway structure for the administration to go up to an area to say, oh, we're going to compensate you for something, and then before the night is out, people receiving an envelope with money in it. So that's my first question. Where did this money come from? Is there money lying around? Because I read reports, and I'm going to be very specific. I've read reports that persons was saying, I believe it was Big Smith, if I'm not mistaken, that persons were reporting that, somebody received $200,000 in an envelope from State House, right? Through which system, through which process, which process are we doing this through? Do we have money sitting at State House, or like that, for persons to be able to push money in an envelope?
Like
No, I'm very serious about this, because people could see it however, you can see it however you want to, but I have to be the technical person when it comes to this, right?
Somewhere.
It has to come from somewhere, and there have to be a line of accountability when it is that you are sharing out, paying out monies all together. There have to be a process, right? What system of evaluation did you use to actually evaluate the losses of persons and so forth? But more importantly, do you have money lying about that is government money? Because if you're saying that you're paying these people from government funds, then why is government funds lying about like that? Like, I don't understand.
It's interesting.
I don't understand how is that at the stage right about now that people could see that as acceptable, right? We are telling public servants in this country that the country don't have money, but money lying around, obviously, for persons to just push money in an envelope from out of thin air to go out and pay compensation. These are real issues, and don't come to me about the compensation. That is not my issue. There's a process. There's a process in which things are done, and as been identified now, there is none. Yeah. There has not been any, and I noted the reporters tried to ask that very question when they were speaking to Irfanali, none other than Irfanali, and he could not highlight because he knows that there was no process, and I have an issue with that. I have an issue with that. In a country where we spell out that corruption is widespread, every single thing is done in such a corrupt manner, then you're going to go plaster that all over that, oh, well, we have a system in place that you can just come and we're just going to take money out of our pocket and we're going to give it to you.
Yep.
Right? There is an issue with that. You can take it. However, I want, we have to be smart. We have to be tactful in every way in which we look at these things. Nothing should be evading us at this point in time. Every single thing is important. And when you see processes and systems are being eroded altogether, we must call it out. It's not acceptable.
Yeah. So, quite an important issue, how public funds are spent, who gets it and under what circumstances, and the reporting mechanism, the accountability mechanism, all very, very important. The other thing that's quite important, we were following a couple of months ago, if not weeks ago, Sarah Lynch, the American ambassador, issued a statement to a memo to internal staff. Avoid Starbucks market, a lot of crime there and so on, people being robbed and discriminated and so forth. Avoid a Starbucks market, avoid border market at all costs. If you can, or if not, go with company there, go during the daytime, and it spells out the security concerns. Yesterday there was a meeting in Monrepo and more. The no less than the Prime Minister himself went to talk to residents there about the security concerns based on what happened at Monrepo and so on. Interestingly enough, one of the things that this government has failed to do, according to its own manifesto, is to do a crime prevention plan. They said they would have done it. It's probably a secret, but lots of people get robbed every day in this country. We know where crime is. Crime is spiraling. You step out a minibus, them boys running up to you and rob you. You come out your gate, them boys coming up to you and rob you. You're involved in an accident instead of helping them boys come up and rob you. But here is Prime Minister Phillips, who is not responsible for security in the country by any means. He is leading a discussion with Manipur and more residents. You know, they got folks who live by Starbuck Market in that area there, you know. They got folks who live in border market area there too, when they can have their meeting about crime and that kind of stuff, you know, and their security concerns. I'm not saying what happened there, and I've said it countless times, it is reprehensible what happened to the people, the vendors and residents and so on, what happened there. But you do not see a security meeting happening, for instance, in Working Russ, or what are the areas there by border market. You got Albertong on the outskirts there and all of that, where they're meeting concerning, you know, crime and that kind of stuff. That is the trouble that we have. And you often talk about the equity and the other stuff.
You know, philosophies of those concepts basically evade them also many times. But when I saw that particular, you know, when I saw those images coming out from that particular meeting, you know, I said that at this point in time, the whole concept and notion of one Guyana should just be flushed down the toilet by these people, because you cannot at any way try to come and to justify that you handpick this particular area to go and talk about security concerns when our country have so many issues. Why are you not going to the other villages and speaking about the security of those residents there, right? We spoke about so many things. You know, there was one particular young man, I believe that he was in Buxton actually, that did really well at Cape, right? From Buxton, you know. Why is it that you believe that you can just bypass all of these communities and just go to this one particular area? When you talk about provocation and those things, those actions aid in that direction. Let us be real. People are looking to the administration, they're looking at their actions altogether. You cannot talk about people instigating when your actions are actions that is going to point to blatant division. You cannot blame anyone for instigating anything when you are the one going out there and saying, oh, well, we're going to protect this section of society, but to hells with the rest of you all. Where are the meetings in the other communities when it comes to the safety? Where is that concept coming from altogether? And people, like I always say, when it comes to these things, we have to be prepared to have hard conversations about it.
I'm happy you said that, because if we go back to Quinn Bacchus, where all this is emanating from, if you go back to Quinn Bacchus, when the police were in that area doing that sting operation in which Quinn Bacchus lost his life, shot 5 times in his back and once in front, police opened fire indiscriminately. In that video, there were school children who were passing by. Where's the security meeting for that community there? You know, where is the Ministry of Social Services with the grief counseling and the trauma counseling for those young people? You know, for the residents in that area. And while we say it is good that this being offered here, but what happened on the other side when something happens? It is so absent. And one of the things causing quite a stir this morning, as we look at the big issue, is some comments attributed to Irfan Ali just last evening, as he was responding to a question posed by a reporter. He said the burial ground is the final destination, and lots of people saying this is a little strange, especially when you listen to these racist comments by Navindra Likram and Imran Sitar, you know, wanting to kill out people and who shouldn't dead and all of that. This whole burial ground, you know, comment by Irfan Ali sound a little strange, and the one is a little dog whistling too happening here, folks. That's the big issue this morning. Irfan says the burial ground is my final destination, you know. That's where we going. And he wanted to go and do a live from the burial ground. I feel like Irfan them lying too much with critics or something. I don't know what's happening here. But it's very, very strange. I don't know if the work getting too taxing for Irfan. He got some mental health concerns and all that. But folks, take a listen for yourself and see if you can make any sense of what Irfan Ali is talking about here. You see, he wanted to go to the burial ground and do a live
Saw today that the man who threatened to kill you was actually arrested. Do you want to comment on that?
I don't want to comment on that. The institutions have to work. What I want to say, this morning I was contemplating doing something very strange. I was contemplating going to sit in a burial ground and to do a live from there and to remind everybody that at the end of the day, that's our final destination. That is our final destination. You want to fight, you want to break up, you can have everything. That's our final destination. My job is a very complex job. But at the end of it, it's what I want and what I'm going to sacrifice everything for. I've asked.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what this comment about. We all going to the burial ground, and that's where we're going. That's where we're heading.
Yeah.
Right? Especially in light of the comments we saw recently by these young men. We want to kill out. You want to go. Why the hell is it want to go to that burial ground
Go live.
and go live? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And I'm picking up some comments as we discussed this here. Why if I want to go to the burial ground? Because that's where all we going. Right? And do a live. The strangest thing is you could try to provide a balm for a hurting nation. Right? He said, that's why one carry on in the burial ground. Very strange comments, and the president needs to come out and to clarify that.
Yeah, I think he should give clarity on that.
Come and clarify that.
That is something that I did see a lot of questions on social media being asked about. What is this? How should people be interpreting that altogether? And as the person that is sitting in the seat, whatever way, the person that is sitting in the seat at the helm there as the executive president of a country, you cannot be making statements just as ambiguous as that, because it needs to be clarified. You have to
hear that,
and
you want to know what's
no, but I don't.
It's that dog whistling. You hear Imran
Exactly.
Sattar talks about I poison out all of y'all. Then it's followed by Navindra Lekram, and he says, I kill out all of y'all, and y'all don't go dead and all that. And then everyone comes with this comment. Take a listen to that.
Saw today that the man who threatened to kill you was actually arrested. Do you want to comment on that?
I don't want to comment on that. The institutions have to work. What I want to say, this morning I was contemplating doing something very strange. I was contemplating going to sit in a burial ground and to do a live from there and to remind everybody that at the end of the day, that's our final destination. That is our final destination. You want to fight, you want to break up, you can have everything. That's our final destination. My job is a very complex job. But at the end of it, it's what I want and what I'm going to sacrifice everything for. I've asked.
Yeah, I heard that. Navindra Lekram was the one who said it. He said, the government should pass a law. If you want protests, kill out all of y'all. If you want protests. And here's your finale saying, y'all want broke up, y'all want it all, the burial ground gonna be your final destination. This is the most bizarre thing I've heard in a long time.
That's correct.
It's the most bizarre thing I've heard in a long time. And Rita, I say again, there is something that is seething in this country, right? And a lot of people stoking it. And I just watching it, and we're bringing some of it to you here. I saw Freddie Kissoon took a break after a long time. Freddie right now, since 2020, don't matter what happened, if it's snow in this country, Freddie talking about rigging and 2020 election, right? If they got healed, if it starts raining fire, Freddie on 2020 rigged election. He took a break today, Freddie Kissoon, right? Don't matter what happened, carnage on the road, he ain't got no time with that. 2020 election, rigging, right? Men killing women, more than COVID killed Guyanese, right? He ain't got no time with that. 2020 rigging. He took a break today, and he spoke a couple of things I want to draw to your attention. I don't usually read Freddie. I stopped reading Freddie many years
I
ago.
still don't.
But I saw the headline, the header,
Mhm.
and I wanted to know what he was talking about. And this is Freddie Kissoon. He says, I will advance a theory that is connected to the anti-Indian violence of September 2020 at Cotton Tree, when 2 African youths were murdered in sociological circumstances.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right?
That's
So I guess that's acceptable. Sociological circumstances. 2 African youths were murdered. I remember a man of Indian ethnicity, you know, charging to police to chop him. And I think he did fire a couple chops that landed. And the police had to end up returning fire. I remember that too. But Freddie just remember, you know, protesters who were responding at Cotton Tree to 2 African youths being murdered. He went on to say in his column, once that mayhem was encouraged by the opposition politicians, right? With Walter Lawrence being the exception in condemning it, right? I remember things differently because I remember opposition politicians telling people to stay on the right side of the law, to protest within the confines of the law. But he apparently walked the ground and he knows something differently. He said there's the opposition politicians that encouraged it, right? And this is what he called being an academic. Once the lunatic fringe, right? The usual suspects, the Creole middle class and the politician nouveau
the political
lumpen, right? Stayed silent, and the police refused to confront the violent perpetrators. The instinct of immunity has crept into the psyche of African anti-PPP protesters that they can rob and beat Indian people. Now that is shocking to me. That kind of thinking there is shocking to me, right? You're basically saying nothing is holding black people back. Police aren't doing nothing, perhaps because a large portion of the police is black people. And so that has emboldened people to rob and to assault Indian people. And that's madness to me. That is madness. And not only was this in Freddie writing this morning, glanced over by Peeping Tom, right? I glanced over by Peeping Tom column, like it was written by Freddie this morning, mayhem. That's the header for the Peeping Tom. And this is what part of that column says in Kaitro News again. It says the perpetrators knew where they were going and their mission, right? Listen to his syllogism and how he sets up the argument and how he concludes it. He said they targeted the market vendors. The distance between the epicenter of the protests at Golden Grove and Monrepo Market is 6.5 miles. Between Golden Grove and Monrepo, there are 25 villages: Haslington, Logwood, Hope, Fowlis, Paradise, Bachelor's Adventure, Melly-Damshana, Elizabeth Hall, Enterprise, Nonpareil, Caldigan, Strathspey, Bladen Hall, Vigilance, Friendship, Buxton, right? Le Reconnaissance, Annandale, Corbin Park, Nog, Ends, Two Friends, Good Hope, right? He says this shows there was a clear intent to beat and loot. You pass 25 villages. What is startling to me here is if there was an intent to beat and loot as is being offered here, you know, this psyche, police didn't hold him back on one column, and so it offered the leeway for Afro-Guyanese to do what they want. And they passed all these villages because their aim was to walk 6 miles to loot and rob. In that 6 miles, you got Indian villages. In that 6 miles, you got Indian villages.
Well, the better question should
right?
be.
You had Indian businesses that were opened in that 6 miles that nobody troubled. You had people buying and selling in that 6 miles that nobody interfered with. So to come to the conclusion that Monrepo Market was the main target only because apparently the Indian people there are better than the Indian people along the way. You know, Enmore is a predominantly Indian village. Nothing happened to nobody there. There were people who were going about their normal business, waiting for transportation, who got caught up in that because there was no transportation coming, right? I saw a lumber yard, there were staff outside, other businesses, there were staff looking on, right? I saw protesters saluting them and so on. But this writer concludes, the intent from Golden Grove, passing Indian villages along the way, was specifically only for Manripo. I find that thinking bizarre.
I have a more specific issue with that, and I want persons to be very careful, because I think we need to you need to disassociate yourself from any thinking if you believe that there is a village on the East Coast that is predominantly Afro-Guyanese living there, all right?
Correct.
And that has predominantly Afro-Guyanese living there, but they don't have Indian people living there, all right? Disassociate yourself from that craziness. In every single village, predominantly occupied residents by Afro-Guyanese. There are Indian people living, working there for years, all their lives, some of them, right? And those things need to be put very much to the forefront. And guess what? In those villages also, Manripo, disassociate yourself from the idea that they are not Afro-Guyanese living there, right? Remove those thoughts completely from your head. We have to get our head, people, we are at pains in telling people, open your eyes and see what is going on in our country right now. There are people trying to divide you from your neighbor, basically. Oh, your neighbor is no good for you. We have people, Indian people, hard-working folks living in predominantly Afro-Guyanese villages that never had an issue. But you're going to go and you're going to preach a narrative to put them against their literal neighbor. Right? There is a problem there. There is a big problem there. And you know what, Sharon, I have a problem with a lot of stuff that Freddie says. But when it comes to any comment, and I'm going to say this very boldly, when it comes to any comment being made by Freddie Kissoon, when it comes to racism in our country, any aspect of race whatsoever, I will refer to his lovely paper that he wrote. Was it 2010?
Yeah.
His 2010 paper that he wrote. I'd refer to those comments in which he himself documented the systemic racism that was highlighted there. So I don't want to hear anything else that comes from that intellectual as he so purports himself to be. I do not want to hear, because you cannot sit as you say you're an intellectual and says, this is a paper that I'm putting together. I am issuing the facts to the people of this country. And then you suddenly forgot that you did that research. You suddenly forget that all of that happens, right?
Maybe it's all that creeps into the psyche.
It's
maybe it's all of that
altogether to even think about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the title of that paper because it's very, very instructive.
That paper is excessively instructive.
Instructive when you see, as Freddie Kissoon argued, systemic racism in our country, because what he says now,
he spoke about the removal of persons of all African people from at the helm of organization and replacing them
same Freddie Kissoon. One wonders now at the academic prowess. The name of the title of the paper is Ethnic Power and Ideological Racism in Guyana, comparing presidencies in Guyana. And he basically said that and argues in this paper academically that Barrett Jackson is an ideological racist.
I think that was the issue that I think Barrett had took him to court for, if I'm not mistaken. That is what he took him to court for, because of all his writings. But it would appear that after that issue there with Barrett taking him to court, he suddenly forgot about all this research that he did. You have to be some kind of hypocrite, to say the least, to know what you know, to have done research that you did, and then to come and spew something contrary to that. You have to be some kind of hypocrite.
I just want to quote a part of what he said in what Freddie Kissoon argues in this academic paper, that he used to prove conclusively that there is ideological racism being practiced in this country on behalf of the PPP government.
I think this paper was available at the University of Guyana level.
Correct.
I think it was there in the library at one point in time.
Right. And here he says here that I want to read it. In his seminal work, he says in Ethnic Power and Ideological Racism, this is Freddie Kissoon, comparing presidencies in Guyana, he argues, right, that even if, this is Freddie, quote unquote, even if one argues that when old parties are defeated and newer ones win election, there are changes in personnel, this is changes in the public sector, the situation in Guyana is the total public realms cannot be easily explained, save for racial engineering. When Freddie Kissoon looked at where we were in 1992 and what obtained around 2010, he says when you look and see how Afro-Guyanese were removed from every aspect of the public sector in terms of the hierarchy and so on, he says nothing explains it save for racial engineering. He goes on to say in another section of this paper, there is a relentless, almost frenetic process of African disappearance in all dimensions of substantial power. And this decrease is a result of government edicts, policies by the ruling elites, and attitudes of Indian power brokers. That's what he said in this paper here. Right? Quite interesting. And again, you have to juxtapose this, what was said then, this seminal work on ideological racism, and what is being profiting now. Right? My point here is to say the president quite recently dragged up the GAWU, the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union president, on a stage somewhere, and he wanted to have a conversation. He says he likes to have a conversation. This nation needs a national conversation on race.
Yeah.
And there's no better person to lead that. It has to be led. Leadership must lead than Irfan Ali. But he's missing a moment.
I'm not going to wait on him.
Quite a few days ago, again, the cut and paste mentality of the PPP, the soundbite mentality. You hear something, they don't verify. A man says something, they don't consider state of mind. Oh, Duncan encouraged him.
Yeah.
But now that they know that the man is mentally ill,
they don't want to comment on
right?
it anymore.
I want to comment. He put a whole page out. Oh, I'm willing to die for the country. Tonight I hold him a wife and son closer because them boys out to get me. That's nice for the politics and the optics. But you see the truth, right? Notice he didn't say, well, I found that man, I found out that that gentleman is not mentally sound, so I can't take him seriously, or what have you, right? If he had found that that gentleman was sound, he says, Mr. Duncan, and you would hear him, right? But suddenly, I don't have any comments to make. Let the institutions work. But the institutions don't work for the vendors who were harmed, unlawfully so, at Monrepo. The institutions must work for some other folks. That's not one Guyana. Yeah. We have to embrace it, right? South Africa did it. He talked about what happened in Rwanda. You got to embrace truth to get to reconciliation.
Yeah.
And somebody got to lead it. And if the president can't lead it, because he can't come with clean hands, then who else can do it for us? Maybe we need outside help. Maybe we need outside help.
It's as sad as it gets. I think that at this point in time, if there's ever a time that persons could decide that this is it, this is the moment that I have to step up and make a difference, is now.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
And listen to it. It's bubbling. Listen to what the columnists are writing. Listen to what people are saying on social media. The Imran Sutars of this world, the Navindra Lekrams of this world. It happens all around. On all sides it happens. Something is bubbling and we have to address it now.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not too concerned what happened in the 60s and the 50s. I am concerned with what happened now. I have to give an account for my children, the age in which I lived as an adult and took responsibility for my own actions.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about the 60s. We got to deal with things now. You can't even deal with things now. It's the 60s. You want to go back and try to solve things. We got to solve them now.
Well, you know, when you are actively involved in any aspect of leadership, you would realize that whatever happened back in the 60s, when we were not there. You know, whatever happened back in the 60s, the knowledge that whatever knowledge we have of it today is what the influencers of then would have documented for us to read about today.
Yeah.
Right. And when you have that bit of understanding, you would realize how important it is for you to stand up to make sure that whatever is documented as of right now is something that you have contributed to, a change that you have contributed to. And with that, I say, like I've just said, you know, if there's ever a time that Guyana needs to be, Guyanese rather, needs to take their heads out of the sand when it comes to the implications of racism in our country, especially the implication that it has on poor people, the working class of the country altogether. It is now. We cannot wait until it is too late, and too late is right there. You know, we consistently say there's something seething beneath the surface, and it is our time to stand up and create this change that we want.
Don't keep the candle low. Don't tell me what Barnum do. Don't tell me what Chelly do. I'm interested what Aubrey Norton do. I'm interested what I do, Irfan Ali do, Jack Dio, and I am interested in what they are doing. We have a chance, living and breathing, to make a difference. Chelly can make a difference now. Barnum can make a difference. Walter Rodney can make a difference now. Right? We are the ones living and breathing. And we got to hold the bull by the horns, right? And address the matter. You want to have a conversation when there are no political points to be scored. I ain't got no comments on the let institutions work. Leadership got to lead. Nothing else to say.
I have nothing else to add to that.
At
this point, you know, that's our program. You know, today we had a little lengthy program as opposed to usual, but the conversations have to be had. And
let's have a conversation.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's have a conversation.
And we need to do a lot of introspection. I ask everyone out there, you know, do introspection to make sure that you examine yourself and your own thinking. Look at the way in which you were brought up as a child and what comments and so forth you would have been hearing around you and all of that. You know, we have to get to a point that we call a spade in order for us to move forward. And I'm always going to be the one to say, let this be my last bit for today. I'm going to repeat what I said a little earlier, that there's an economic implication when it comes to the racial divide in our country. And we need, as Guyanese, to pull our heads out of the sand when it comes to that, because unless we remove that racial barrier, the economic implication will make sure that the division with the classes is so severe that poor people in this country will be always begging for the next bread to put on the table for themselves and their families. We need to remove that barrier, that veil of racism in our country, unify our voices, least we are the beneficiary of absolutely nothing to come.
Correct. And you know, before we leave, we have a very sad moment. One of our fans transitioned life recently. I don't like to use the word fans. One of our viewers, one of our supporters of our programs transitioned life quite recently, and we want to say thoughts and prayers go out to Gavin Beresford.
Yes.
We're supposed to do this since last evening. We lost him over the weekend. I was made to understand he had I think a heart attack, and he was moving from one state to the next. They were telling us, and he didn't get all of his insurance transferred and a whole host of things of that nature. He had a heart attack and didn't make it out, and so he transitioned life quite recently. He was an ardent viewer and supporter of the work we do here, Gavin Beresford, and we want to say, you know, rest in peace, Gavin. Walk good, and thoughts and prayers go to his family and the entire community. You know, you meet people in these chats and they become family.
They do become family. They do become family.
So again, respect and manners to his family, and our thoughts and prayers go out to them. Right, folks, I know I don't want to interrupt if you want to make an introduction.
No, I was just going to repeat the same thing, you know, because so many times that we come on and some of the folk, the majority of the folks here, I've never met these people in my life.
Yeah.
But consistently coming on board, sharing your thoughts, and the interaction back and forth, we become so close. So very sad news, and we give our condolences to his family.
Definitely. Guys, you know, lots of you have been wishing me happy birthday, and I'm so heartened by all of your kind words of encouragement and well wishes. And I say again, if you want to say happy birthday, do it with a donation to a program. We need it, folks. we need to move past our responsibilities we've had for May and June. We're heading into July, August, and we have responsibility to keep all of the lights on and to keep the cameras rolling and to keep the internet going and the doors open. And we need your help. So if you're going to do anything for me today, I would say make a donation. We're going to leave that up to you, how much you want to give, but find a way to make a donation to our programs. We are available via Cash App. It's in the ring 592, the dollar sign in the ring 592, that's standard. We're available via PayPal and Zelle. It's the one email address. It's in the ring 592 at gmail.com. In the ring 592 at gmail.com. We're available via MMG. You can walk around the street and send us some money via MMG. That's the local Cash App, the GTD system, MMG. Our number is 627-6963. We're going to pin it on our pages, 627-6963. That is our number for MMG. And you can WhatsApp us on that number too for any guidance that you need, 627-6963. We're available via MoneyGram and Western Union as well. We need your support. So if you want to say happy birthday in a meaningful way, we're not going to tell you how much you want to give, but we need your help. We need your help. Thanks for all of your well wishes, nonetheless.
Thank you so much, guys. And I just want to continue to remind you to support, like Mr. Duncan says. And you know where to find him. 12 noon and then again at 8 p.m. in this evening. So have a good day, guys.
Either boat. Stay safe.